administrative
governments.
Right. So we have, it's like a small country. There's a mayor, which is a sort of prime minister, and the local council, which is a sort of parliament. The local council issue legislation which is valid for the community only, and the mayor is the one to enforce that legislation. That's the way it is organized. All the communities are part of a county. We call it județ. In a județ or a county, we have communes and cities. We don't talk about the cities because that's another story, but villages are all part of a county in Romania. We have 40 towns.
Iar în perioada otomană, Nicolae Balcescu se numea Dana Chioi.
Dana Chioi. Okay, so in the Ottoman period, the Nicolae Balcescu village was called Dana Chioi.
Adică satul vițeilor.
Satul de?
Vițeilor, de la Vida. Satul vițeilor. Se creșteau viței.
So that is the village of the small, the baby cows.
Iar Dorobanțu.
And the Dorobanțu
se numea Bilar Lar.
Bilat Lal.
Bilar Lar.
Dorobanțu village was called Bilat Lal.
Bilar fiind un bogătaș din zonă.
Because Bilat was the name of a rich man from that area.
Iar când Dobrogea a revenit la România,
and when Dobrogea came back to Romania,
aceste sate erau locuite aproape exclusiv de tătari.
Those villages were inhabited almost exclusively by the Tatars.
Care după revenirea la România au început să plece.
Those Tatars, after Dobrogea becoming part of Romania, they start leaving Romania. Să-mi spune câteva cuvinte despre tătari, că nu vreau să știu ce asta.
Tătari?
Da, ce să mă spune.
Sunt din Crimea. Deci, mie popular nu sunt turci, sunt tătari, ceva diferit. Puțin diferit, sunt musulmani. Și a venit din Crimea, nu cred că rușii. Nu m-au noroc pe rușii, pe la 1600 a început să fie.
1600. So, now, to understand what those Tatars are, they came at that time from Crimea Peninsula here, after fighting with the Russians, at that time, and they were Muslims as well, but not Turkish population. They were Muslim, but not Turks. They were Tatars, Muslim Tatars from Crimea.
E posibil să fie urmașii mongorilor.
Ai cui?
Mongorilor.
Their hypothesis that they are the Mongolians were their ancestors. So that's again you see how many populations were here. The Tatars were one of them, and they are still Tatars these days inhabiting Dobrogea. Most of them have left Dobrogea because of after Dobrogea becoming part of Romania.
După revenirea la România, Nicolae Balcescu și Dragomir au venit coloniști din Brăila, deci coloniști din Brăila și din Buzău.
After Tatar people living Dobrogea living Romania, people from Buzău and Brăila replaced the Tatar population. So imagine during Dobrogea became again part of Romania. After Dobrogea became part of Romania, Tatar people live in Romania, and their place has been they have been replaced by Romanian population from the northern side of Dobrogea, from Brăila and Buzău. Buzău is outside Dobrogea, but it's very close.
După primul război mondial, satul era împărțit în două.
After the First World War, the village has been divided in two.
Există și o Constanța Cârșova, care trebuie să bată satul.
By the road Constanța to Hârșova, which gets through the village.
Partea din stânga era locuită de români, partea din dreapta de tătari.
The left side of the road has been inhabited by Romanian people, and the right side of the road was inhabited by the Tatars.
Pe la 1930, guvernul din Ankara începe să atragă de tătari și turci ca să colonizeze Anatolia.
And after 1930, the Turkey government started attracting the people from Dobroja, Tatars and Turks, in order to colonize Anatolia. So Anatolian people were originated here, somewhere.
Iar unii au plecat pur și simplu, lăsându-și casele și pământul, nu vânzând. Le-au lăsat și au plecat.
Some Tatar people left their houses and their lands. They just let them. They didn't sell them. They left them, houses and lands or whatever, and flowed to Turkey, Anatolia.
A lăsat în urmă un cimitir turcesc la Nicolae Balcescu.
What they left was this sort of cemetery. This, we call it Turkish cemetery in Nicolae Balcescu.
Se vede nouă în cruce, numai acele pietre care sunt puse la capătul.
In a Muslim tradition, there is no cross. That they use a sort of stones with a certain rectangular shape to mark the tombs.
Și aici am descoperit 3 morminte care care actuale, totuși acestea 3 sunt turcești și pară de bine sunt întreținute pe destul de actuale. Dar n-avea cine să urmărească și scrie în literul
So, but they were not only Tatars. Those 3 tombs looks like Turkish tombs. They are very well maintained. They are Turkish, not Tatarian, right? Turkish. So they are Turkish. Well, I know you get a bit confused because of so many changes over time. So they speak deja.
La un moment dat, cele două, deci astăzi aveam Uniunea turco-tatară. Nu mai sunt separați.
Okay.
La un moment dat s-au unit ca să... Erau musulmani. Erau musulmani sau...
To make things even more confusing, the two distinct populations, Tatarian population and Turkish population, not long time ago, they formed a single union, which is the Turkish-Tatarian Union. That's because both of them are Muslims. So it didn't make sense to have 2 different organizations. They get united, and now we have a Turkish-Tatarian Union. It doesn't mean that Turkish and Tatarian people are the same. They are different, but they have the same organization because both of them are Muslims. Clear? No. Anyway.
Cimitirul din Doromanțu nu mai există, deoarece localnicii au luat de pe câmp pietrele și le-au folosit la construcție. În perioada interbelică, nu?
Well, in between the 2 wars, the local people took away the stones from the cemeteries of the Tatar Turkish cemeteries, the stones, and they used them to build houses, to build everything they need at that time.
Ce mai rămas? Aceasta și moscheea din Balcescu, care vedeți că nu prea e o moschee tradițională.
Okay, this is a Muslim cult, which is Jamia. I don't know whether there is an English name for that, but this is a sort of Muslim church, let's call it like that. And this is very traditional construction here in Nicolae Balcescu.
Mai sunt câteva familii turco-tatare, nu știu.
Because of all this fluidity in Nicolae Balcescu village, there are still families, we call them Turkish Tatarian families, because we just don't know, we just forget how to differentiate them. They are different, again, they are different population, different tradition. The Tatars are from Crimea, the Turks are from Turkey, so they are different. But they are Muslims, and because the number of the population decreased over time, they formed a single organization, and even the families now, we call them families, Turkish Tatarian families, because we don't know how to differentiate whether they are
Cum să vă spun? Dacă îi întreb pe ei, dacă prinzi pe cineva mai în vârstă, ți explică foarte clar ce sunt. Dar privit din exterior, atunci e posibil să diferențiezi.
Okay, so those two populations themselves, they know what they are. If we ask a certain citizen which ethnicity it is, he or she will explain us very clearly whether it is Turk or Tartarian, Tatar. But from the exterior, from people looking at those families, it's almost impossible, it's very difficult to differentiate who is who, which is which.
They no longer use this mustache.
Mai poartă mustache așa?
Am câțiva elevi de copătași și sunt foarte mulți. Și părinții. Sunt moderne, sunt occidentalizați.
So they are no longer, they do not wear those mustaches and traditional clothes or whatever. They look very occidental, they look very modern, like very violent.
Și oamenii care au văzut aici am pus mai tradițional, să-i vedeți așa, nu mai au ocazie. În rest sunt îmbrăcați.
Okay, the Ethiopian, the Russian people you have seen here singing, usually they don't wear those clothes. They wear the same clothes as anybody else. They keep those clothes only for church, for specific events and so on. That's the same with the Tartarian and Turkish people. They are Romanians, Tartarian.
Iar în această fotografie din interiorul moschei, vine un hoger din altă localitate, vinerea, și ține o slujbă pentru cineva.
So the Muslim priest, the Hoja, is called here, comes to Nicolae Balcescu from another village because they don't have one for their own, because there are not so many. They cannot afford having their own Hoja. They have to share the Hoja with different other villages. That's interesting, you see, because it's a sort of going through different communities on larger area than usually. Because if we have an Orthodox community with numerous people, the priest of that community knows only that community, because it's only serving that one. In the case of Hoja, the same Hoja is shared by different communities, so that one must knows a lot about all of them. That's it.
Aici avem o hartă a biologiei a 1900, iar Nicolae Balcescu era în clasa Constanța. Dacă vedeți, cum ar fi astăzi județele, atunci era clasa. Clasa Constanța.
Okay, so this is a wonderful map. Wonderful map. We have, thank you very much. That's a very good map. Why? You see here the main ethnicity: Romanian, Bulgarians, Lithuanian, Russian, Tatar. And you see how blended they are all over Dobruja. Each in one under my hand, 1,100. Each of these subdivisions of the Dobruja, they call it plaza, which is more or less similar to a county. Like this. You see the pies with the proportion of each of those ethnicities. The Nicolae Balcescu village we are talking about is still in the Constanța Plaza, county of that time. That's like a mosaic, like a puzzle of gold.
Carolul I, localitatea este aceasta. În 1930 s-a schimbat superficie. Ce se sta datorul fostului regentatul?
Okay, I prefer that. No, I'm sure. So, in 1930, the Romanian government changed the name of that village in Carol. Carol is the name of the first Romanian king. So they call it Carol, from Carol village. Carol is the king of Romania coming from Germany. Just well, to be more confusing, you know. Nothing is very simple. So that's the name of the village at that time, 1930. Carol, name of a king, a Romanian king from Germany. Understand? More or less.
In 1000,
Sorry?
what year was you saying? The age, the year?
The year 1930.
Dacă ziceți 1930, înțelege?
Da.
Dacă o să ziceți 1930, înțelege?
Cred că da, 1930.
Și în același an, când s-a propus schimbarea de numire la Vila Rar, în localitate era un bătrân caporal care participase la războiul de independență, care a propus denumirea Dorobanții fiind infanteria română care a luptat în Dobrogea. În războiul de independență.
Okay, so one of the villages of this commune has been called by a veteran from the independence war of Romania. Was called Dorobanțu because Dorobanți were a sort of subdivision of the Romanian army of that independence war.
Și era comună care o și Cătun, nu știu ce zice.
Okay, so it's a smaller village.
Iar se negociază, dar în general, primii români care au venit aici au fost
Okay, the first Romanian people coming here were shepherds.
Vorbind de tradiții, avem poze din ăla interbelică, cum arăta o fântână. Oamenii, nu exista corect, oamenii și oameni din fântâni.
So this is after the Pokemon going to Madeira. So after the First World War, when the Romania comes here, they build some specific construction like this fountain. This is a fountain, a well, a specific Romanian well.
Am găsit două în localitatea care nu se cum să funcționeze, dar există. Deci, avem o fântână care trebuie să aibă o durată, o vechime, pentru că nu mai face nimeni așa ceva.
These wells are specific to the Romanian shofar, Romanian people. This is very old. We don't know how old it is, but it's very old. With this arm like that. We call it Sigoniu.
Aceasta la fel, asta era chiar la un punct de stradă. De aici își luau apă cei care nu aveau fântână în curte.
Okay. This is a community fountain in the crossing the streets. Everybody came here to collect the water for the households.
La un moment dat au venit din Moldova, în 1925, o comunitate de adventiști, de 25 de familii.
Erau români.
Români adventiști, religie diferite.
Religie adventistă. Când am?
1925.
In 1925, a small community of Adventist people, Adventist is another religion, it's not Orthodox, not Catholic, it's a Protestant religion, subdivision of the Protestant religion, coming down from Moldavia to this area. Because here we had Orthodox and Muslims, mostly to that time. But we have seen that another Christian denomination, Protestant denomination, the Adventist, came here in 1925.
E casa lor de cult care se așează mai sunt vreo 30, puțin puțin.
This is a cult house for the Protestant community of Adventists.
Și aici este strada pe care s-au așezat ei atunci, care și astăzi este numită strada Adventiștilor.
They live together, they settled a separate party, a separate neighborhood in the village, along a street which is called even nowadays Adventist Street. Not because the street is Adventist, but because it's Adventist living in West. So that's the Adventist deal with the Adventist households on both sides. There are still Orthodox people around.
Câteva exemple de acestea au fost unde se țineau caica. Nu am bani. Aici se țineau cai în urbațul pământ că e... Da, graj.
So, this is a construction to keep horses in between the two wardrobes. It's a bit strange because it's very tall. It's not like we are used to see that.
Nu mai folosim așa ceva, dar... Și am găsit câteva case vechi. Cum arătau casele după primul război mondial.
After the First World War, the houses look like this.
Casele mai răsărite, oamenii puțin mai bogați.
The rich people.
Iar aici se vede, acolo scrie 1908. Deci, în momentul în care terminau casa, scriau anul în care au făcut-o.
At that time, the construction, the builders, wrote down the year where they finished the house, and here is said 1908.
Silos.
To keep serious. Why are we showing to you all of this? To understand that it's not only about the language or the ethnicity itself, it's also about the religion. They were and they are a lot of religions here. In Romania, we have 13 cults recognized by law, but our constitution allows any other religious denomination if it is self-financed. So it has to be recognized by law, and then if it is self-financed, that's okay. But we have 13 recognized cults recognized by law. They are financed by the state. And here in Dobroja we have, I think we have all of them. And they don't fight each other.
Oh, yes, yes.
So, what?
Pierde fuerza la luz, está muy lejos.
Sí, ahora, now it's better to get closer.
It's better?
I thought it was going to improve better. Maybe now you have to push the thing. Sorry. I thought it was going to improve.
Looks better.
Just to get smaller. Smaller. A bit smaller.